Health is real, seek help, end the stigma. On the news this evening, Labour leaders applaud sole administrators' plans to rehabilitate Rivers State Secretariat. Suspended Rivers Deputy Governor again denies resignation rumours. Supreme Court dismisses suit challenging federal government's management of recovered loot. On the foreign scene, UN says Gaza in cruelest phase of war with 9,000 trucks worth of aid ready at border. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Back. Some Labour leaders in Rivers State have been speaking on the planned moves by the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, to carry out a phased rehabilitation of the Secretariat. In an interview with correspondent Suibi Oruwari, State Chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Alex Agwanwo, says it is a welcome development.
The sole administrator, if he feels he can renovate it and do that magic within 6 months, we will welcome it. What are you going to achieve in 6 months? You can't renovate the whole secretariat within even 1 year because secretariat is very big. But almost all the blocks need new lifts. Most are you going to take to replace before the lifts will come? And the water, the lift, and the lift will come, they will come and mount. They are not a project of 4 months or 3 months which is left for him. We will commend him for taking the step. But what we want him to do is to play the role he's brought here to play. Ensure that both parties come back.
On his part, the state chairman, Nigeria Civil Service Union, Chuck Oshuma, also commended the sole administrator for the move. He, however, urged Ibas to focus more on the reason he was sent to the state to restore democratic governance.
I say it's a welcome development because secretariats have been due for renovation for a very long time. I think if the state administrator also look at it and see there is need to start immediate work on it. I think what to ask for as workers is a safe working environment and a good working condition is in line and the democratic development. There's no friendly situation for now. Well, workers have been working there with the government. Workers are civil servants. They are not politicians. So whoever that is there, they give me support. They are professionals.
Oshima also expressed concern about how long it will take to complete the project when it starts.
The issue of renovation of the state secretariat, those were the projects which our governor, elected governor, has proposed to renovate the secretariat. In fact, when the former governor was there, the lifts were not working. He was able to make the lifts work and even promised to replace most of the lifts. So if the sole administrator is coming to renovate the state secretariat in phases, what we expect him to do is to call the both parties like he was brought here to come and make peace so that the governor can come back, the House of Assembly can come back.
Earlier, the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, said the government would soon begin phased rehabilitation of the state secretariat. Ibas spoke at the end of the 4-day transformational leadership training workshop organized in collaboration with the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. He said the physical work environment must support productivity and excellence. He also promised to review public service welfare policies to better motivate civil servants.
During a recent inspection of the State Secretariat, I deliberately took the long walk, floor by floor, to see firsthand the conditions under which our officers work. From erratic power supply, non-functional elevators, unsanitary conditions, to the lack of work tools. It was a sobering experience. It is clear that we cannot demand excellence from our workforce while neglecting the very basics. To this end, I'm pleased to inform you that we are working towards the phased rehabilitation of the State Secretariat and other public infrastructure. We are also reviewing other aspects of service welfare.
The administrator also charged the local government council administrators to conduct detailed needs assessment in their councils and submit strategic plans for high-impact projects within 2 weeks.
Therefore, charge you all to go back to your various local governments areas and draw up strategic plans for targeted high-impact projects and initiatives that are based on the specific needs of the communities you serve and send to me within 2 weeks from today for consideration and approval. Furthermore, the Auditor General, local governments will be fully empowered to monitor closely the application of the resources that are being remitted to various local government councils. The people of Rivers State must get value for every kobo provided.
In her remarks, the acting head of service, Dr. Iyingi Brown, described the training as the first of its kind for Rivers State civil servants. In other news, the suspended Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Professor Ngozi Odu, has again dismissed rumors suggesting she has resigned from office. A statement by her Special Assistant on Communication, ICT, Marize Michael, described those spreading false information on social media as naysayers. The statement urged the public to disregard the baseless claims from unverified sources. It said Professor Odu remains a Deputy Governor of Rivers State and Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the Governor. Away from that, the transmission of the Rivers State 2025 budget proposal to the National Assembly is still generating comments among Rivers stakeholders. The recent comment is coming from a professor of political sociology at the University of Port Harcourt, Steve Wadu, who described the move as economic capture of the state by the political class. Professor Wadu spoke in an interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
So this one now is economic capture of Rivers State. The political capture of Rivers State has already taken place the moment the elected governor was forced out of office without due constitutional provisions. Now they try to do governance capture by appointing a sole administrator who also started derailing the system, derailing Rivers State. And eventually now the president has acted the proper hatchet intention, which is economic capture of Rivers State. So entirely the sovereignty of Rivers State has been captured.
Professor Wadu also urged President Bola Tinubu to consider reviewing the state of emergency rule and restore democratic governance to the state. Also, rights activist and founder of the Albino Foundation, Jake Epele, says the president's transmission of the Rivers State budget to the National Assembly is an active violation of the principle of separation of powers. He spoke on Channels Television.
President Bola Tinubu has made history, but I think he's on the wrong side of history by presenting this budget. This unprecedented move is very worrisome. This is executive overreach. There is no justification in it. But let me also sound a note of warning to Fubara and everybody around him. Don't negotiate things that will put the state in jeopardy. Whatever deal he wants to make, he has the right to make those deals as long as it does not border on the people of the state and the mandate that the people have given him.
In the meantime, a Port Harcourt-based lawyer, Innocent Ekwu, says the past 2 years under President Bola Tinubu's administration have witnessed a rise in politically motivated cases. Ekwu said this in an interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari while assessing the current political climate in the country. Dr. Ekwu urged the president to restructure his cabinet to better reflect and serve the interests of the people.
Political crisis always happen in every regime, but the characteristical nature of political crisis in this regime shows and unveils a very particular pattern. These crises are not being properly dealt with by the federal government. It was politics that led to the emergency rule in Rivers State, where there were divergent interests clashing against each other, and those who control more superior political forces torpedoed those who had less force. If I were there, I wouldn't have been insisting for the 6 months to complete.
The chairman of the Labour Party, Hilda Dokubo, also spoke.
We have politically motivated every kind of hardship. We have politically motivated movements of people from one party to the other. I wish maybe the last 2 years will be less burdensome for Nigerians. I don't think anybody pays less than 90K every month on electricity. Most of them want to convert Nigeria to a one-party state because we don't even know why everybody's crossing to one place. Presidents who just would sleep and wake up and declare a state of emergency where there is no problem, but not declare a state of emergency where they truly need a state of emergency.
Mrs. Dokubo also insisted that she remains the chairman of the Labour Party in Rivers State while speaking about the political internal crisis in her party. Still come, Supreme Court dismisses suit challenging federal government's management of recovered loot. Stay tuned. Back. The Supreme Court has dismissed a suit filed by the 36 state governments and the Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF) challenging the federal government's management of recovered looted funds. In a suit filed in 2021, the governors asked the court to direct the federal government and relevant officials to provide a detailed account of all unrecovered and unremitted assets. They also sought an order requiring the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to design modalities for distributing the recovered assets among the federal, state, and local governments. But in the lead judgment prepared by Chidebere Owa and read by Mohammed Idris today, the 7-member panel of the Apex Court held that a dispute falls within the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court and not the Supreme Court. To education stories now, the Vice-Chancellor of Ignatius Ajuri exercise for the 1,500 new staff members of the institution. His comment follows Monday's blockage of the school gate by protesting members of the Ruma Elimini community over what they described as non-provision of host community quota. In an interview with our correspondent, Professor Onuchukwu said the employment was based on merit.
If we had gone to share that number approved by state government, you will see that each local government will get 47 academic staff. And if Obiakpo gets 47 and Romolumine is just a ward in Obiakpo, do you think that they will get up to 3? They will not. Coming to non-teaching, you have 17 per local government. If we have shared it and given Obiakpo 17, how many are they going to get? So the issue is that this thing was done purely on merit. The only problem is that those nominated by some people here didn't pass. And I keep saying it tomorrow that protest was sponsored by some people in this community.
The Vice-Chancellor cautioned against further disruption of academic activities, adding that the institution has written for another approval to employ more staff.
This is a public institution owned by Rivers State government. Here, when we recruit based on merit, because here we are training people. We are not producing toilet roll that you bring in here any person to come here. What they fail to understand is this mentality of oil company. We don't operate things like CLO they were asking for. They were talking about CSO. And I told them the way CSO is recruited in this school, it is through the ranks. As you retire, another person takes over. This is a university, not that kind of institution. So they should desist from disrupting activities.
Earlier, the youth president of Rumelimini, Mr. Felix Chinder, accused stakeholders of hijacking the IAUE employment process. In an interview, Chinder said Rumelimini is demanding a minimum of 200 employment quotas or an outright cancellation of the exercise.
It was not purely on merit, as they said. It was actually something that they called all their worst friends and relatives because they are in position and they hijacked this employment. We are not opportune to be part. We are not carried along. We are calling for outright cancellation, or if not, they should give us employment that due us.
Elsewhere, President of the Garden City Premier Business School, Professor Silva Opoala Charles, has reaffirmed the institution's mission to bridge the gap between academia, policy, and industry. Opoala Charles said this during the business school's second quarterly CEO's breakfast meeting on Tuesday in Port Harcourt with the theme Nigeria's 2025 budget, harnessing quick wins and opportunities for businesses and non-profit organizations. He described the breakfast meeting as a strategic forum for thought leadership, innovation, and proactive response to economic developments. The keynote lecture was delivered by Baba Yusuf, a renowned economist and policy strategist who advocated for the adoption of the Blue Ocean Strategy by Nigerian enterprises. A panel discussion examined the practical implications of the national budget for the private and non-profit sectors, addressing fiscal challenges, innovation, and growth strategies. A new publication of the business school, Transformational Digest, was launched at the event and unveiled by the Amadabo of Adama Brass, David Serena Dokobo Spiff. To health matters, some men who are living with HIV in Rivers State say they usually do not get complete treatment and drugs at some health facilities because of what they identify as speaking anonymously. Speaking anonymously to correspondent Martha Okere, one of such men who are part of high-risk populations for HIV, said they receive help mostly from non-governmental organizations. He appealed to health workers to uphold medical ethics by providing non-judgmental care to ensure that everyone can freely access HIV drugs and treatment.
Somebody who is effeminate, who behaves so much like a woman, cannot just walk up to any facility and get complete treatment. How everyone will overcome it? The facilities where we access drugs, they are about caring people and they are about them. So it's not that they're encouraging what you are doing, rather they are helping, they are trying to see a way whereby you are being attended to health-wise and other financial ways. So the only thing I have to tell people out there, let them stop judging people. If there are no lots of tests out there judging other people, people can actually walk up to any facility and then access medication. People should see other persons, no matter how the person behaves.
He also expressed concern over dwindling funding and supply of essential preventive tools, such as contraceptives and pre-exposure prophylaxis, which are key to reducing the risk of HIV transmission, especially among high-risk groups. It comes as the 2024 HIV prevalence by state showed that Rivers State has the highest number of people living with HIV, with over 208,000 recorded cases. The news continues after the break.
Congratulations,
on the international scene, the US says Gaza is in the cruelest phase of war, with 9,000 trucks worth of aid ready at the border, 3 days after Israel eased an 11-week blockade. The Palestinian Health Ministry says 29 people have died in Gaza of starvation-related deaths this week, whereas Israeli officials say there is no food shortage in Gaza at this time. On the news this evening, you heard Labour leaders have applauded the sole administrator's plans to rehabilitate the Rivers State Secretariat. Suspended Rivers Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu has again denied resignation rumours. Supreme Court has dismissed a suit challenging the federal government's management of recovered loot. On the foreign scene, the UN says Gaza is in the cruelest phase of war, with 9,000 trucks worth of aid ready at the border. The news was edited by Constance Irele Mega. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.